Good evening, I'm Asha Tomlinson. Ian is away. Tonight, ready or not, Tokyo, here they come. Hundreds of Olympians and personnel arrive as COVID cases crop up inside the athletes' village. Locals protest as COVID numbers rise across Japan. And while fans can't attend the games, International Olympic Committee execs meet in person.
Was there ever a moment where you thought, maybe we should do this one on Zoom?
Terrifying and surreal, how Germany's chancellor describes historic deadly flooding as cleanup begins. And the warnings that we could see more like it more often. Plus, waiting for the worst in BC's interior.
It's like living in the twilight zone. I went to town yesterday and you can barely see the lake.
And the work to get more kids into sport.
Many Indigenous families simply can't afford to engage in competitive sport.
Getting Indigenous athletes to the starting line. This is The National. In just 5 days, the Olympic Games will officially kick off in Tokyo. Athletes and staff from around the world are already pouring in, but instead of the energy and excitement it would normally bring to a host country, right now it's stirring COVID fears. Tokyo's cases were already climbing. Sunday, it added more than 1,000 new ones for the 5th straight day. And now there is word international athletes in the athletes' village have tested positive, kicking the anxiety there and all over the country up another notch. Adrian is in Tokyo, where it's already Monday morning. And Adrian, these are not the numbers people wanted to see at this point.
Hey there, Asha. You're right. We are a few days away from the medal tally being what people are looking at. Instead, it is the tally of COVID cases that people are staring at right now. We know now that 2 South African soccer players tested positive in the village, as well as a video analyst from that team. More than 50 other Olympic-related personnel have also tested positive. These numbers are going to grow. There is an inevitability to that. So COVID zero, no. Safe, that is the plan. Joyful, that's what's going to take work. Arrivals into Japan are building. And yes, those are Canadians cooling their heels after their long flights, encountering lineups and delays at the airport that are reaching their peak. And along with the surge of people is suspicion that those incoming athletes and officials and media are carting the virus with them as they show up. The front pages of Japan's dailies like Asahi Shimbun writing of what they call the risky bubble. Japanese television following accredited Olympic workers suggesting rules are being broken. Worried Japanese officials calling for even tighter restrictions. And still saying no to the idea of at least some fans in the stands in Tokyo. The people here who sacrificed so much will now be almost entirely cut out of the Olympic experience, and it's crushing for them. But the IOC carries on.
Finally, I think after 15 months, the first time we meet in person again. And this is a very special pleasure.
Its executives and global VIPs will be the ones in the stands at the opening ceremony. And Olympic bosses opted to hold their first in-person executive board meeting in 16 months here in Tokyo. Was there ever a moment where you thought, maybe we should do this one on Zoom out of respect for what they cannot do?
This executive board meeting is not only justified, it is necessary.
The IOC executive didn't alter weekend plans either, going ahead with attending a celebratory dinner with the Tokyo Organizing Committee at an imperial palace. Protesters outside making it clear they're growing tired of an Olympics starting to feel like a private party. Now, the IOC is making some changes, worried that without fans in the stands, the athletes and the people at home won't have a particularly good experience. So microphones will be amped to pick up the sounds of competition, and audio from past Olympics will be piped into the stadiums to try to energize the athletes a bit. As for the people of Tokyo, it certainly seems that their best chance of having a good Olympic experience is to watch it on television. Asha?
Thanks, Adrian. Even with the opening ceremony taking place this Friday, the Canadian government still has not said if it will be sending a delegation to the Games. But tomorrow morning, we do expect to find out who Canada's flag bearer will be. And you can watch the event right here. Adrian will be hosting our coverage alongside Olympic primetime host Scott Russell. It all starts at 6:30 a.m. Eastern on CBC TV, CBC News Network, and CBC Gem. To the pandemic now, where Canada has just passed a vaccination benchmark set by our neighbor to the south. At this point, 48.4% of the total U.S. population is fully vaccinated against COVID-19. For Canada, that number today is 48.8%, surpassing the U.S. for the first time. It took months for Canada's rollout to hit an average pace of 400,000 to 500,000 shots per day, but it's been relatively consistent. The U.S. rollout hit its peak in mid-April. It's been downhill since. Now virtually the same as Canada's, despite having 10 times the population. We'll talk about the situation in the U.S. in just a moment, but first, let's stay with Canada, because while the country's vaccination rate is impressive, Lauren Pelly explains it's not good enough yet.
Whether it's basketball,
Canada, the NBA title is yours,
or the race to get vaccinated, there is always a friendly rivalry between Canada and the U.S.
We've surpassed them. They've had tremendous access to vaccines earlier on. We had tremendous access to vaccines a bit later on, but the uptake in Canada has been phenomenal.
And medical experts say we can't stop now. More than 6 million eligible Canadians, plus all kids under 12, are still not vaccinated. Even so, most of the country is finally reopening. Over the weekend, Ontario allowed the return of movie theaters and indoor dining. And Manitoba let restaurants stay open later.
Being able to enjoy an outdoor environment, eat food, and starting to get back into the swing of things has been really nice.
Calgary wrapped up its famous Stampede. And Yellowknife hosted its Folk on the Rocks festival, all while more contagious variants are quietly spreading.
If we want significant community level protection, you're going to need to vaccinate way more people.
At this afternoon pop-up clinic near Toronto, hundreds lined up for one of just 300 available doses.
For many of those here today, it's not just about getting a vaccine, it's about getting the shot they want.
2 doses of Pfizer would be better for us. We don't want to mix vaccines.
This despite the repeated message from health officials that both Pfizer and Moderna are basically identical.
We don't have weeks or months for indecision in regards to vaccination. And I think, again, we look back to the communities that are being most affected right now by the Delta variant. And it is those communities that are unvaccinated.
A warning that comes before another fall where gatherings shift indoors and kids go back to school, which could all mean another win for this virus. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
In the U.S., the number of Americans rolling up their sleeves is slowing, even as the number of cases keeps increasing. As Chris Reyes shows us, officials say misinformation on social media is to blame.
COVID-19 pandemic.
Officials in the U.S. say they're fighting twin pandemics, the COVID-19 crisis and the plague of misinformation.
And we probably would still have polio in this country if we had the kind of false information that's being spread now.
COVID cases are rising in all 50 states for the first time since January. Almost every recent death, an unvaccinated person.
The platforms have to recognize that they've played a major role in the increase in speed and scale with which misinformation is spreading.
That stern message to social media companies has been repeated by the new U.S. Surgeon General all week. On Friday, President Joe Biden called out Facebook for not doing more to stop vaccine misinformation.
They're killing people. I mean, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated.
Facebook fired back this weekend, saying it's not to blame for the country's stalled vaccination rate. In a blog post writing that 85% of Facebook users in the U.S. have been or want to be vaccinated.
They wait for the White House or the government to be upset so they can reply with the numbers.
Companies like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have changed some policies during the pandemic to encourage people to seek out trustworthy news sources. But Silicon Valley professor Ahmed Banafa says those same companies don't seem willing to spend enough money to battle misinformation.
Do you think this problem of misinformation can be fixed on the platforms?
It's going to be fixed over time by using the right technology and having the regulation that will tell the platforms you're responsible.
In the lengthy post from Facebook, the company said it is increasing resources to fight misinformation.
We know that health misinformation harms people's health. It costs them their lives.
Health officials say right now, solutions being offered are no match for how fast misinformation spreads. And that's the real challenge. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
The stroke of midnight in the UK tonight marked so-called Freedom Day, when masks and social distancing rules are relaxed. That's prompted mass indoor gatherings. It happens as COVID infections are surging at levels not seen since January, reaching right into UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government.
I've been in contact with somebody who has COVID, in this case, of course, the Health Secretary, Sajid Javid.
With his health minister testing positive, Johnson is self-isolating along with his Treasury Secretary. Experts fear that with just over half the total population fully vaccinated, the virus is set to make a comeback. Europeans are taking stock today and preparing to clean up after devastating floods swept through parts of several countries. Hundreds of people are missing, so the death toll of nearly 200 is expected to rise. Above it all hangs the specter of climate change. Matt Demore shows us just how bad things are and explains how they could get worse.
The rushing floodwaters that tore through Schuld this week left visible scars throughout the German village. Many buildings damaged or destroyed, a toll seen firsthand today by German Chancellor Angela Merkel as the arduous cleanup continued.
Es ist erschreckend. Ich will fast sagen, die deutsche Sprache kennt kaum Worte für die Verwüstung, die angerichtet ist.
Despite the damage in Schuld, the mayor says there have been no deaths or injuries here. But flooding in Germany has now cost the lives of at least 158 people. Floods have also hit the Netherlands, and in Belgium, at least 31 people have died. Damage was severe in the town of Troo. This woman says her home had been fully renovated, but now she has to start from scratch. The president of the European Commission promised support for member states and raised an issue on many people's minds: climate change.
It is the intensity and the length of these events where science tells us this is a clear indication of climate change.
The discussion around climate change comes as storms and downpours persist in parts of Western and Central Europe. Saturday night saw flooding in the German-Czech border area and in Austria. This environmental advocate warns we could see more extreme weather events like this more frequently unless urgent action is taken.
So we will have to build back in a way that takes climate change into account. The important thing, just as much, probably more so, is to make sure these don't get worse, because impacts are getting to a point that they can't be adapted to in any kind of meaningful way. And therefore, people are put at risk and people die.
German authorities say people are still missing in areas affected by flooding, and there are fears that more will be counted among the dead. Matt Demore, CBC News, Montreal.
For weeks now, people in BC have been on high alert as new wildfires continue to spark around them, threatening their homes and communities. Right now, there are about 300 wildfires burning in the province, many of them prompting evacuation orders and alerts, and about a third of them are considered out of control. As firefighters work to change that, residents can only wait and worry. Annamie Paul's with the concerns that are being raised about people's mental health.
Scenes like this are raising anxiety levels in BC.
We're starting to get a wind again, and it's blowing in the direction of our community. We're getting ready to block the road if need be.
Mayor Mitch Campbell is keeping an eye on the wildfires surrounding 100 Mile House, prepared to close the highway if they get too close.
It's gradually getting closer as we speak, but with the wind, it make it that much worse. We took a trip down to 70 Mile, and the smoke is really heavy down there.
For those living nearby, this is a welcome sight, but there's still a lot of worry and a lot of fear.
It's like living in the twilight zone. I went to town yesterday and you can barely see the lake.
Michelle Obrey started a Facebook page to keep neighbors up to date on the wildfires.
The last couple days, it felt like we were scrambling. Like, where's the fires? They were happening so quickly.
Mother Nature isn't helping much, with the forecast ranging between hot and dry and lightning storms.
So that's certainly an area that's on our radar.
Camsell worries about the toll this wildfire season is taking on people's mental health.
2017, we had fires. 2018, we had fires. Then we had sawmills shut down in 2019. And then we jumped right into COVID-19. And now we're back into the fires again.
It's a real concern, especially during a pandemic, says this psychologist.
I always say that there's an optimal level of anxiety. So it allows us and motivates us to do the things that we need to do, like prepare a bag or get our important documents and papers ready. But we don't want so much that we're overwhelmed.
Her advice? Take one day at a time. Try not to get overloaded with information you don't need. Be prepared to leave. And she says, never forget that British Columbians are resilient. Karen Pauls, CBC News, Vancouver.
A firefighter battling a wildfire in northern Ontario has died after suffering a medical emergency near Fort Frances. The name of the firefighter has not been released. There are currently about 100 fires burning in northwestern Ontario, and 3 communities have been or are being evacuated. Firefighting help has come from Mexico, the U.S., and 5 other provinces. With so many burning in so many provinces, wildfire smoke is blanketing much of Canada right now, causing hazy skies and lowering air quality. Environment Canada issued special air quality statements for parts of BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec today, warning people who are at elevated risk to reduce their exposure. And the biggest wildfire burning in the U.S. is getting even bigger. The Bootleg fire is in Oregon, just north of the California border. Fed by strong winds, it grew last night to the size of Los Angeles. It has already burned nearly 200 homes and outbuildings. Some frightening scenes in Washington, D.C. this weekend as a shooting near a baseball stadium put a sudden and dramatic stop to the game. It was a packed stadium for last night's Nationals-Padres game. Fans enjoying loosened pandemic rules in D.C. Then, gunshots.
8-4.
And everybody stood around for a minute because nobody knew what it was. And then a whole storm of people started running.
Authorities tried to keep people in their seats.
Please remain calm and remain inside the stadium.
But fans ran for cover, scared and uncertain.
We basically went through into the dugout of the Padres. Yeah, pretty scary.
In fact, it was a shootout outside between 2 vehicles. 3 people were injured. Despite no danger to those inside, it all went from fun to fear really quickly. But the game went ahead today. The Padres won. Today in Nova Scotia, a provincial election campaign got underway. What's been called a 2-dose summer because of vaccinations could become a 2-vote summer for Nova Scotians if the federal Liberals pull the switch. Shayna Luck on the race and the tricky timing.
With outdoor COVID restrictions loosening in Nova Scotia, the NDP showed off its candidates today without masks.
So our slate embodies in who we are, the vision that we stand for and the vision that we represent.
It will be the shortest campaign allowed by law, 30 days, leading to an August 17th vote. The third wave is finished here, but with a state of emergency in place, the Progressive Conservatives have criticized the timing. Still, they sprang into action.
We're ready, and we're going to go out and listen to Nova Scotians.
Liberal leader Ian Rankin triggered the election.
I think it's time that we put the question to the voters.
So far during the pandemic, 5 provincial and territorial elections have all seen the incumbent win. Elections Nova Scotia is preparing supplies for pandemic-safe polling stations, sanitizer, face masks, and nearly 1 million pencils, one for every voter.
Our supplies are locked and loaded and ready for deployment to the field.
I think we're relatively prepared in Nova Scotia. I'm sure the protocols will be in place, and I'm
I'm fine with voting and in this sort of setting.
But politicians may struggle to get voters' attention.
Well, I think it's somewhat of a bold move to do it in the summer when participation isn't going to be as good.
Okay. Nova Scotians might face 2 votes this summer. Speculation swirls that a federal election could be called, given the low COVID numbers and the Trudeau government's high polling numbers.
So the Liberals might want to take advantage of where they are in the polls before their numbers start to shift. They do have to take into account that it's not generally seen to be very good to have 2 campaigns running at the same time.
There is nothing that prevents a federal election from being held alongside a provincial one. Federal Liberal staffers have already been told to be back in Ottawa for August. Shayna Lux, CBC News, Halifax.
Annamie Paul is no longer bracing for an imminent threat to her leadership of the Green Party. CBC News has learned she will not face a vote of non-confidence that had been set for Tuesday. The party's governing council wanted that vote. David Thurton has been working this story from Ottawa. So David, what are your sources telling you?
Yeah, Team Annamie Paul is celebrating tonight. The leader is relieved. Her supporters feel secure about her future as the leader of the Green Party of Canada. There are details we still don't know, but we do know this. Sources tell me a non-confidence vote scheduled by the party's federal council for Tuesday will no longer be taking place. And a source tells me the party is no longer contemplating revoking her membership. Lawyers on both sides were involved in this. This went all the way to some sort of arbitration, an out-of-court process. I'm told Paul probably would have survived that non-confidence vote, but still, it would have been humiliating to endure weeks before a potential election call, Asha.
And, you know, what does her future look like now, especially as we know with the federal election looming?
Yeah. Paul is supposed to be out in Toronto Centre tomorrow. The riding she'll be fighting to win in, the next election, whenever that is. The internal bickering, has been a distraction for the Greens, who want to be talking about the climate emergency, the deadly heat, the wildfires that are in the headlines. But there are still some within the party unhappy about what she has and hasn't said about the conflict in the Middle East, and an MP who defected to the Liberals. Tension the party will have to sort out before any election call, Asha.
All right, thank you so much for this, David Thurton in Ottawa. As we near the start of the Tokyo Olympics, there will be few Indigenous athletes representing Canada.
For me, sport was an incredible place where I could release some of that trauma.
Next on The National, the barriers facing Indigenous athletes trying to make it to the Games. Plus, the new Space Jam smashes the box office. Meet the Canadian voicing some of its main stars.
I'll take it from here.
And remembering the woman behind some of Canada's most iconic tunes. We're back after the break. Welcome back. The search for graves began this weekend at the site of yet another former residential school. This time it was the site of the former Delmas Indian Residential School in Saskatchewan, north of Saskatoon. Ground-penetrating radar is being used to find out how many unmarked graves may be there. The National Centre for Truth and Reconciliation lists the names of more than 40 students who are known to have died while they attended the school or shortly thereafter. That work is among the TRC's 94 calls to action. Also part of the calls to action, removing barriers to sport that Indigenous people face. Tashana Reid now on the meaning of the work to level the playing field.
Riley Manybears knows nearly every kilometer of Siksika First Nation. It's where he first discovered his love for running, encouraged by his late grandparents.
They always told me these oral stories about us being messengers back in the day, us running from one tribe to another, just deliver messages.
With each run, a sense of pride on his ancestral land. But it's sports, he says, that saved his life.
Growing up in a very dysfunctional environment, just being around that surroundings of drugs and alcohol, teen suicide and family violence and, poverty, sports played a huge role. And it still plays a huge role to my life still to this day because You know, it was my escape from that environment.
That environment, the legacy of residential schools.
I'm a third-generation residential school survivor. You know, I was affected from my grandparents' trauma and also my parents' trauma as well. So I asked them, you know, what were their ways on how they cope with residential school? They said, you know, it was sports.
Riley took that advice and ran with it. He brought home medals from the North American Indigenous Games and gold in the 8,000 meters at the 2015 World Indigenous Games in Brazil. That experience pushed him to chase a new goal, qualifying for the Tokyo Olympics. But as the pandemic took hold, training had to take a back seat.
Let's get your temperature quick.
The 25-year-old pivoted to helping his community. Now he spends his days here at the local sportsplex that currently operates as a vaccination clinic. Still, he holds on to those Olympic dreams.
What motivates me is the Indigenous people, especially the people of Siksika, and they always tell me, you know, just to never give up. Igakima, try hard.
I'm tremendously happy for both these guys.
But few Indigenous athletes have represented Canada at the Olympics, and Tokyo will be no different. At least one athlete who identifies as Indigenous will wear an Olympics jersey for Canada. Mohawk athlete Jillian Weir will compete in the women's hammer throw. The Canadian Olympic Committee says it can't confirm how many of its athletes are Indigenous because it doesn't currently track that data.
We've seen hardly any movement in the elite sports sector. None really at the level that we're talking about right now on the international stage.
Janice Forsyth, Director of Indigenous Studies at Western University, says Indigenous athletes in Canada face many barriers.
Racism is the obvious one, and racism happens in many forms and is meant to make people feel wholly and welcome and push them out of sport. Organized sport is extremely expensive, especially when we talk about competitive organized sport at the elite level. And many Indigenous communities, many Indigenous families simply can't afford to engage in competitive sport.
The other big issue is access. For many remote or fly-in Indigenous communities, competition, access to coaching, and training at facilities is simply out of reach.
Perfect practice makes perfect game.
These are barriers Olympian Wani Corn-Miller has advocated to change throughout her career.
I've gone to hundreds and hundreds of Indigenous communities, actually all over North America, and I know the talent that exists. And I go there and I inspire and talk about being an Olympian, and then I look at them and go, but there's no system, there's nowhere for you to go to realize that. You live in a fly-in community, and I just think that's wrong.
Canada wins the first gold medal in Pan Am water polo.
Following victory at the Pan Am Games in 1999, Horn-Miller competed at the Sydney Olympics on Canada's first women's water polo team. But she looks back at that time with mixed emotions.
It's been complex, to say the least, to represent Canada. And specifically as an Indigenous person, as a Mohawk person, as someone who has been through some of the worst racism this country has ever offered, it was really complex for me.
A decade before her Olympic debut, Horn-Miller would make headlines for another reason during the 1990 Oka crisis.
It was a bloody day at the Mohawk Indian community.
As a teenager, she was stabbed by a Canadian soldier's bayonet while holding her younger sister during the standoff.
For me, sport was an incredible place where I could release some of that trauma that I had gone through during the Oka crisis. It is such an important tool for my own people, but also an important tool in this country.
When you're swimming along, I don't want you to turn your head away. If you turn your head, anything can happen.
She wants to see more Indigenous athletes get the opportunities and support she had, including her daughter, who is following in her footsteps.
This government, though in many ways they're trying, but they still are approaching Indigenous sport development in a very colonial way. And I think that they need to start understanding how to work with us to understand how our people will come together and develop this.
In 2015, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission outlined 5 calls to action for Indigenous sport. Since then, Sport Canada has committed to investing more than $53 million for Indigenous sport by the year 2022. That funding is critical for the development of athletes and Indigenous-led sporting events like the North American Indigenous Games.
It's a place to reclaim our identity and to assert who we are as Indigenous people. So this is why it's really important for the federal government to get on board and to actually create a national strategy that helps to support Indigenous-led sports.
For Riley, he has his sights set on the Paris Olympics in 2024.
I have a strong mindset and I will be there one day.
And he hopes he won't be the only Indigenous athlete to cross the finish line. Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
As many know, racism is not just a problem for Indigenous athletes. The problem reared its ugly head on the Euro Cup pitch this month. A frank discussion about it is next. After England's Euro Cup run ended in defeat, the disappointment was crushing. 19-year-old Bukayo Saka's penalty kick was stopped and Italy claimed the cup. But much worse was the abuse he and two other black players endured online afterward, prompting a rebuke from the Prime Minister.
Shame on you, and I hope you will crawl back under the rock from which you emerged.
But their experience is echoed in so many corners. There's an undercurrent of racism in many sports, from spectators, coaches, fellow athletes, and sports broadcasters, along with systemic barriers racialized athletes face just getting involved in the first place. The athletes arriving in Tokyo this weekend are preparing to compete on the biggest stage of all, the Olympics. And along with grueling training, many of them have had to grapple with racism every step of the way. Joining us now is CBC sports columnist Morgan Campbell in Toronto and University of Victoria professor Dr. Christine Obansawin in Victoria. So nice to talk with you.
Hey, great to be here, Asha.
Christine, let's start with you. We are hearing lots about racism in sport today and over the course of a few weeks, a few months, you name it. But this has long been a problem everywhere. You've written about some incidents in our past. Tell us about them.
Yeah, this really has been a problem in Canadian history, Canadian sport history since the early days of this country. And so we can look back to the late 1900s, early 20th century and identify moments of racism directed towards Indigenous, Black, racialized athletes. And so there's many examples to draw from. One of the most famous examples in Canadian history is the racism experienced by Tom Longboat, the Onondaga runner from Six Nations of the Grand River, who accomplished much in his career, most notably winning the Boston Marathon in 1907. And a year later, when he failed to finish in the Olympics in 1908, he was marked by the Canadian press and Canadians as being, a racialized individual associated with his Indianness and being lazy and essentially a drunk Indian.
Wow. Christine, does racism, you think, deter people from pursuing professional sports, getting into those elite levels, especially when we're talking about the Olympics where, there isn't a whole lot of money to be made?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I think that racism is at every level. It begins at access. And so the systemic racism that exists in our sporting structures, that just to access some of these leagues, whether the barriers are financial, whether for Indigenous communities, young Indigenous youth living in remote communities and not being able to access sport itself, and then the experiences of the athletes. I think there's so many levels to consider in terms of what might deter young athletes from pursuing sport. It could be the racist moments. I think there's so many high-profile athletes that we are learning about every day who speak about their experiences growing up in Little League or participating in various tournaments and the racism that they encounter there.
And Morgan, I want to ask you this as a sports journalist now. How does racism play out in the sports media world? Are there the same kind of barriers? And I ask this because of the recent controversies, I'm sure you know, about Rachel Nichols, who was caught saying that her Black colleague Maria Taylor was only covering the NBA Finals because she's Black, or even even Stephen A. Smith, who said an Asian player superstar in MLB needs to speak English.
Yeah, see now, but those are two situations that are specific to ESPN, and I don't know like all of the politics that underlie them, but I do know this, right? Like with the Rachel Nichols situation, what you had was management not being clear with two really high profile on camera personalities about who was doing what and whose job it would be to host this countdown show. But you know, again, the where it becomes racial is Rachel Nichols automatically defaulting to this idea that Maria is only getting a push because she's black. And this is after Rachel Nichols has enumerated like all the things that Maria Taylor does at this network. So Maria Taylor is clearly very good, but somehow when she gets promoted, it's only because she's black. And the thing that really I found disturbing about that aspect of the conversation is she's speaking to an agent. She's speaking to a guy that represents LeBron James. And he also represents Anthony Davis. Like this is an access gatekeeper that all aspiring superstar NBA journalists kind of need to have a good relationship with. And these two are kind of conspiring. Like I could talk all day about the numerous ways in which like racism subtly and consciously seeps into, you know, the decisions that get made in terms of the sports media. But again, just the idea that no matter what kind of skill and initiative Maria Taylor showed, her colleague says she only gets ahead because she's black says a lot.
All right, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Columnist Morgan Campbell in Toronto and University of Victoria professor Dr. Christine Obonsawin in Victoria. Well, basketball is topping the movie charts this weekend, and LeBron James isn't the only star of the new Space Jam.
Yikes.
The movie could not have been made without this Canadian voice. We'll tell you all about him next.
I'm Jamie Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, pressure is high on the Cuban government and the Biden administration to fix the island's crisis, what protesters want, and how things got this dire. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm a cartoon?
Meh. What's up, Doc?
This was the #1 movie in North America this weekend, Space Jam: A New Legacy. It grossed an estimated $31 million at the box office, $5 million more than Marvel's Black Widow, and the biggest pandemic opening for a Warner Brothers picture. The voice of some of the characters in Space Jam, like Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, and Marvin the Martian, happens to be a Canadian. Eric Bauza is originally from Scarborough in Toronto. Not only is he in this weekend's #1 movie, he's also up for 2 voice acting Emmys. And in some cartoons and video games, he voices Bugs Bunny himself. Bauza spoke to CBC News about his loony career.
Hi, I'm Eric Bauza. I'm from Scarborough, Ontario, Canada. Okay, test, 1, 2. You guys can hear me in there okay? All right, here we go.
Phew. There we go. And, I'm the new voice of Bugs Bunny. Meh. What's up, Doc? Phew. It's hot out there. Wonder if this joint has any boxed carrot water.
When I first stepped into the voice booth as Bugs Bunny, it was surreal. It was like a dream come true.
A rabbit? Hiya, Doc. Nice swimming hole you got here.
Definitely a task that I was up for, but
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
it's just so hard to fill those shoes that Mel Blanc left behind. It was his original character, so he was free to do whatever he wanted with it. So you have to study up. You have to be on point when you are in character for Bugs.
I'm sure this nice homeowner won't mind sharing his pool with the local wildlife. There we go.
So on Looney Tunes cartoons, I voice
Bugs Bunny? Hey, thanks, pal.
and also
Daffy Duck? Nice to meet you, chum. Tweety Bird. Dwanny, there's a bad old putty tat outside trying to eat me.
And Marvin the Martian. I claim this planet in the name of Mars.
There's a photo of myself wearing this Bugs Bunny shirt that I purchased from Six Flags Magic Mountains. It was grade 8. If I could go back in time and tell young Eric that I would be voicing Bugs Bunny in my later years, I think my reaction would be,
whatever, Doc.
I wouldn't believe it. I think it's just something that you just don't expect. Who grows up thinking that they're gonna voice Bugs Bunny? Not a lot of people. It's just serendipitous in a way. All of my parents' money that I spent on goofy clothes and toys is now coming back. I saved all the receipts, so I'm paying my parents back every paycheck I get from Looney Tunes.
Listen, Rabbit, everyone knows that I'm the star of Looney Tunes cartoons. Also, my father was a Canadian goose, so therefore, I've always been Canadian.
You know, I miss Canada. I miss home. I miss my family. I miss friends. But there's one major way I stay connected. I actually started this big little brand by the name of Retro Kid with an old high school best friend, Steve Gaskin. We make t-shirts. It is basically our love letter to Toronto, paying homage to iconic Canadian TV shows and pop culture, like Mr. Dress Up. When you're a lonely Canadian in the US and you have an article of clothes that identifies you as being from Toronto, and a fellow Canadian finds you, it is like two unicorns finding each other in a in a big grassy field. You know, we look to the US for a lot of influence when it comes to entertainment, but we've also created so many original shows and programming from Canada.
Oh, hello. You're here now, so I'll put my book down.
The US has Mr. Rogers and Canada has Mr. Dressup. Mr. Dressup was an icon and definitely influenced my creative side as a kid. Anytime Mr. Dressup was at the drawing easel, I would always bring out my pad of paper and a pencil.
Alligators have such big mouths, it's easy to make them smiling.
What's amazing is that I'm watching it again with my son, and he loves it. You know, like, we're talking about a kid that's being raised in this digital age, and he is enjoying every minute of it. When I watch cartoons with my son, he looks at me and he starts doing voices too, and I think it's hilarious.
I taught out her booty patad.
Of all the Looney Tunes voices that my son does, I think his best voice is Bugs Bunny for sure.
Meh. What's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
All right, I think we found the next voice of Bugs Bunny. You know, I'm not gonna force him into the family business, but if he wants to be in animation, I would applaud him 100%. Oh man, that's good stuff. What's next for Eric Bauza? I'm just watching the news and preparing for when it's safe for my son and I to hop on a plane and come home. I want to come home and hug my mom and dad. Head home to the Great White North, eh?
Meh. That's all, folks.
Next on The National, a tribute to the woman behind an earworm, familiar to millions of hockey fans. Oh yes, that oh so hummable tune, remembering Dolores Claman in our moment. We're willing to bet you know that tune. For decades, the intro to Hockey Night in Canada, sometimes called Canada's second national anthem. Well, this weekend, Canadians across the country remembered the woman who composed it. Dolores Claman has died at the age of 94. Her enduring musical legacy is our moment.
Follow me.
Born in Vancouver, Claman had studied at New York's Juilliard School of Music. In 1968, she got the commission to write a new theme for Hockey Night in Canada.
I really had to, again, get in my mind what a kind of idealized hockey game was. And the padding, I thought, gladiators, yes, Roman gladiators.
Give us a place to stand and a place to grow and call this land Ontario.
Claman also wrote this Oscar-winning song for Ontario at Expo '67. But but this is the one that lives in the hearts of millions.
Yeah, I had a friend who had a wedding, and that was his theme song with his bride. They walked out to it.
And you know, those who knew Clayman well say she never really understood the success of the HNIC song until many years later. She'd read letters from fans, watch videos of school bands playing it, and she'd have tears in her eyes. It was an honor, we're told, she never took for granted. That is the National for July 18th. I'm Asha Tomlinson. Good night.